Welcome to Season 2 of the Just Us podcast. This is a conversation with Pastors Aaron and Diane about faith, family, freedom, and fun. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything we share. So let's start today's podcast.
All right, everybody. We are back with another edition
Podcast.
or another podcast of
Just Us.
So this is having conversations with Pastor Diane and me about things like family, things like freedom, things like faith, and some fun.
Absolutely.
And once again, we're just doing it to be helpful. So we appreciate all your feedback.
Yes.
And we appreciate when you share with somebody. And I would just encourage you, share with someone that's not maybe in your church sphere. Maybe
That's
sphere.
wonderful.
Maybe someone outside that circle that is not from around your parts or whatever. Anyway, share it. We just want it to be helpful. Yep.
Absolutely.
So how are you?
I'm doing fine.
You
How about
look-
yourself?
You look good.
Oh, well, thanks.
With the red lips and the red
Thanks,
shirt.
your little red hat.
Yeah,
Look at you.
That's right. Look at that.
We got a little festive things going on. What happens in a couple of days?
Well, so we're in that season of love. Valentine's, right?
Valentine's Day.
So because of one of our topics that we like to hit is family, and obviously that has more to do with relationship. And so we thought what we would do is come to you and talk about some things that have to do with relationship and
Yes.
family, romance, marriage, etc.
Romance. Wow. Threw that in on me there.
All right, so obviously sometimes we prepare a lot for this. Sometimes we sit down and just go with the flow, and sometimes we just
We're
grab
always ready.
Yes, we grab a couple thoughts.
That's right.
We're not here to preach sermons, and you know me, I'm a point, and so
We know.
I tone it down
Nothing bad. but
for
we
20
know.
minutes, and so I thought what we would do is we just kind of came up with this thought, like, and we're not saying these are the top three, but like being married for 30 years.
Going on 31 this
Going
year.
on 31, being
2025.
blissfully in
Yeah.
love for 31 years.
31 years.
So
Almost.
Because of that, we thought we would come up with three. I said it this way: the three top things we've learned, but maybe it's just three of the most important things.
Some
It may
of the
not be the
most.
top three, but they're up
Not
there.
the only top three, or there's going to be top three in different seasons probably
Yeah.
too that can happen. But this right now, this is some of the stuff that we.
Yeah, and so I wanted to put an asterisk beside this because
Okay.
I think people see when we walk on a stage, and
Okay.
they see the best of everything on a Sunday, and I think they think that you guys have a perfect family and a perfect marriage, and you guys never fuss, and like there's just angels floating around you all the time, and just I just want you to know that's absolutely true. That's no, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say that's absolutely not true.
I remember a pastor we used to work for. He said, "I'm a pastor, but I still put my pants on one leg at a time." What he meant is we're still
That's
real
good.
people.
Yeah, we're
You know,
still
those are
real
giftings
people.
you see
Still
on
have
stage,
same
so
issues that everybody else does.
Sometimes we do really good at marriage stuff, and
Sometimes we don't.
sometimes we stink at it, and it's usually the season when, you just need a little bit of direction.
Yes, that's always his answer. I need the
I'm
direction.
joking. So, so we just want people to know that, we are not, we're not.
Absolutely
we don't live
not
perfect
perfect.
lives.
Do not have the perfect
but-
life. Do
but-
not have the perfect marriage. But
If we had it all perfect, we wouldn't need God. We wouldn't need His Word,
exactly.
right? So we
That's
need it
absolutely true.
more and more all the time.
That's
So-
so true a statement.
Three things we just thought of to help you, even if you're not married, remember these things, right? And so three.
Yeah, because it would be good, really, actually, to be
Yeah.
applicable in any kind of relationship, honestly.
Yeah, and
So
they are
if you're
very
single,
applicable to any
or you're
relationship.
widowed, or you're married. These are just things that you can apply to any type of relationship
We got tres.
that can be helpful.
Tres puntos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's number one? You throw out number one.
Okay, number one is selflessness. We've
Yeah.
had to learn this the hard way. Actually, just about every way. We've had to learn that. One of the things that I think we didn't realize until a lot later in our marriage is the fact that you have to be very selfless. You have to kind of die to yourself and really think more of the other person than you do yourself, even in like your answers or your reactions or your responses. We were taught this, and it was revelatory to us, is that we don't respond to our mate the way that we would want responded to. We relate to them or respond to them the way that they need to be responded to. And that is very selfless, because a lot of times we think so much about like, well, I did it because I think this, or I said it because I said that, not because I need you to understand, or I need to understand the way that you need it to be said or done.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Because I believe that there are different seasons of marriage, so many.
Absolutely.
You're together for it's not like just at year 6 this happens, but somewhere it gets a little consistent like that. But so,
Okay.
At what point in marriage do you think that you start realizing that, like for me, I don't remember when it was, but you're better pointing out, like remembering certain things than I am.
Okay.
Like at some point you just realize, yeah, I can be selfish. When do you think that happens? Because I think there was a season I didn't realize I was selfish. Then I thought, well, I'm just the selfish one. And I realized, well, sometimes you're selfish too. And we're both selfish. And everybody's selfish.
You know what I think? This is just for me personally.
Okay.
Is when I start feeling like you're not paying attention, or how can I make that make sense?
So you notice you're selfish when you notice I don't pay attention?
Well, when maybe I'm not paying attention.
I got you.
Like, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention to the things that you need.
I'm going to make a bad admission.
Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, when I'm not paying attention to the things that you need, then I
yeah.
realize I'm just really being selfish, because I'm thinking
Yeah.
more about what I need than what you need.
Mm-hmm. Can I make a bad confession?
Well, okay.
Now,
That makes me a little nervous,
I feel like I'm in
but all
the
right.
minority on this, but I remember one day just realizing, and it was a good realization, that not everybody sees it my way, and they shouldn't see it my way.
Wait. Hallelujah.
No, really. I mean, I don't know if you ever had a moment.
Sorry.
Maybe it's a
Had
guy.
to get that in
maybe
there.
It's an Aaron thing. I don't know, but at
Wasn't
some
a
point
dig,
you
it was
just
just-
kind of do. You realize, like, you know what? I
No,
think
it
everyone
is.
sees it my way, and they don't.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing.
Right.
But everybody has selfishness.
No, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
By all means, we all have selfishness in some form or fashion. And
We're used to thinking of ourselves.
I'll tell you what, though, marriage surely allows you to see how selfish you can be.
It probably like nothing else.
Yeah.
You know why I know everyone's selfish? You shower, right? Right.
Yes.
When you get in that shower,
Everybody, I shower
what's
multiple
the
times a
first
day
thing
sometimes.
You do?
Huh?
When you get in the shower, what's the first thing you do?
Oh, put your hand in to see
You
what the water
check the
temperature
water.
is.
Why? We don't want to be too cold or too hot. Now, that's
Right.
not a bad thing. I'm just
That's not a
saying.
bad thing.
So we're
No.
used to just
Yeah.
protection, thinking of ourselves, wanting to be comfortable, and there's nothing like marriage to point out that we're pretty selfish people.
That's what I said.
And-
No greater relationship could it be
Yeah.
that would tell you how selfish you really are.
And so one of the top things we learned is we're selfish,
But we
and
need to
we
be
gotta
selfless.
we got to be selfless. Sometimes we do really good at that,
Sometimes.
and sometimes we
Yeah.
don't do so good at that.
We can always do better.
Yes.
That's one of the things I think we always talk about is like, well, we can always improve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we haven't attained. We will never attain.
Yeah.
We can always work. That is another thing that I think that can be, and it might be a different perspective on it, but that you're very selfish, all of us, if we think that in marriage we've learned it all for however long you've been married.
Yeah.
That to me can be very selfish. You're never going to learn it all. I don't care if you're 90 and you're still married. There's still something that you can change in. There's still something that you can learn in, and you can really pay attention to what is happening.
You know, like a barometer for me. I hope you notice this. Maybe you don't know, but it's like
You always make me nervous when you said
no. It's
that.
like when maybe we have a little discussion or an argument or something, and
That's better.
and I'm realizing as I'm walking away, like everything in me wants to be annoyed and mad and be like, "Psh!" And there's something inside of me that just won't let me stay there. Because sometimes we'll have a little discussion,
Yes.
and I'll come back, I'll give you this big hug, like, why are you doing that? It's like, I don't have the right, and I
Well.
want to put myself down, because I don't want to say, because I can walk away thinking, because sometimes
Well, that
you're,
just shows our differences.
sometimes you're absolutely right, and sometimes I'll walk away knowing, like, you're wrong on this one. And I want to be like, get the cameras out, because, you know what I mean?
Oh, we know.
But you walk away from it and you
Yes.
realize, you know what,
When I say we, I guess
I can't,
implementing
I
my
can't
girls.
stay put out. I got to put the selfless thing down.
Yeah.
That's just my thing. Do you have a thing?
Yes, I have a thing in reference to that or in answer to that. It's because I'm a processor in that moment. I'm in that moment, so I'm processing. And I'm processing my feelings and my emotions. And you're thinking what you just said. And I'm just thinking about, I got to process through that before I can actually give you the same return.
Yeah.
And it's just the differences that we have. It's
Sure.
just who I am, it's who you are.
So one thing we've learned
We have
is
to appreciate
we got to
that.
become more and more selfless.
We absolutely have
Yeah.
to become more selfless. Again, any relationship that you're in, we have to learn to become more selfless.
Yeah.
And that honestly, I think when we learn to become more selfless, it makes us better people.
Right. Where's the second one? That's one thing.
That's one thing.
It may not be the top thing, but selfless
No,
is
but I
is
tell you, that's
definitely
a hard one,
It is.
and it's one of the strongest ones I think in marriage. Like,
Right.
I can only speak from our experience,
Right.
but you can see that in other people's relationships
Yeah.
too, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
So we've
we
realized.
even counsel a lot of people, and we talk about things like that.
So we've realized we need to be more selfless.
we absolutely need to be more selfless.
And what's the second thing?
The second thing is we need to learn better. Not that we don't do this, to value each other's differences.
Yeah. That's right.
Honestly,
It
we are two different people.
You know, all the years we've done any pre-marriage prep,
Mm-hmm.
I only remember one couple when they did their tests, and they were really just almost identical.
Yeah, and that was more recent too. Remember?
Oh, I don't know if we're talking about the same person.
We
This
may not
one
be.
wasn't, but I mean, they're still married. They have seem like a decent family, but I think it's because she just tells him what they're going to be. Anyways, so the point to that is,
Or it could go vice versa.
yeah. So I feel like
Thanks
the
a
point
lot.
to that,
Thanks a lot,
little
Aaron.
sidetrack, is we can lose sight of valuing our differences,
We can.
but we do like. So
Well, that's when you start to value your differences.
Mm-hmm.
It really starts to help you understand wholeness, because then you start to
Yeah.
realize you make me better in a way that I'm weaker in, and I
Yeah.
make you better in a way that you're weaker in. And then when you both are strong,
Mm-hmm.
or you both are, then it's like a wholeness.
I think when you get together early on, you appreciate differences. Then you go through a season where like the differences kind of annoy you.
Absolutely.
And then you got to come back to a place where you're like,
Absolutely.
we need to put value in these
I
differences.
say that with a smile on my face.
No, because you can lose sight of that because like,
You absolutely can,
well,
and
the
I
point
think
my
sometimes
little
that takes people down
bunny
the wrong
trail there a
road.
minute ago was, you want to opposites attract
Yeah.
because everything I'm not, you are. Like
That's
you
why I said
are.
we're two totally different.
Yeah,
people.
you're really good at confrontation. You're really good at discussing, talking. You're really good about being in the moment. You're really good at just really practically solving things.
I appreciate that.
You're really good at relational things. You're really, like on Sunday, just for example, I could get up, preach my heart out, give people a fist bump, and I could go home and watch a game. I'd be all right.
Okay.
People can't get out of the building with you giving them 3 or 4 hugs. So I'm going to encourage them and motivate them. You're going to make them feel loved. Now, I love them,
I know you love them. You
but I could give them a
absolutely do
fist
love
bump and
them.
go out the side
You
of the door and
couldn't
be
do
like,
what
see you
you-
next Sunday.
You couldn't
Not
do
'cause
what
I
you
don't love
do if
them,
you didn't love
But you
people.
really make them feel and express that. And anyway, that's just kind of a few little things. But so those things, and we need to like appreciate it. Sometimes we get frustrated. We don't appreciate those things. But I do appreciate
Yeah.
your differences.
Well, I appreciate your
'cause
differences.
it makes
Sometimes
you a
they
good
annoy the
team.
crap out of me, but I do. Sorry. I mean, that was just very authentic. Just like you said a few minutes ago. Like, I annoy you in certain instances. And
I made you a
sometimes
promise,
that's just
didn't
that.
I? What's
Yes,
my
you did.
promise?
Your promise is, you promised me that you, how did you say this?
Always trust me. I'll
You can
never
always
abandon
trust
you,
me,
but I will annoy you.
but I will annoy you or I will frustrate you. And you know,
I'm a
when
prophet.
you know ahead of time, you know,
I annoyed you
know
yesterday.
ahead of time.
Last night she's like, well, I'll tell you, you did annoy me today. I'm like, what did I do? And then you told me. I'm like,
Well, but no, okay, here we go. Here is a prime example, everybody. You'll get to see this. Okay, he'll ask me a question. Okay, are you annoyed? Is there something bothering you? And then I try to remain, because I can open up conversation and really talk about anything and everything, and from beginning to end, and bring resolve. Not that I'm tooting my own horn. I'm just saying that's important in a relationship. But when you ask me questions, I have to pause and I have to say, okay, how am I going to answer this? Because I'm going to be honest about it. But I also know that it's going to have to get resolved, because once I say something, I know what it's going to lead to. So I have to think through that, just like you do at times. So when you ask me a question and I answer the question, because you'll say, are you annoyed? And I'm like, yes. And you're like, are you annoyed at me? Yes. And you'd be like, well, why are you annoyed at me? And then you go off on this tangent about it. And it's like, okay, I explain it. And then you get a little fired up. I get a little fired up. I'm like, okay, you asked me the question. I answered the question. And then we figure it out and we bring resolve. And sometimes it's through a little bit more of a difficult process, which is true. But one thing I do appreciate that you'll do is you'll be like, okay, we're not getting anywhere with this, or we'll have to wrap it up, or you're quicker to probably like want to end, but I'm quicker to want to resolve. So I do appreciate that about like you bringing those things up.
you know,
If that made sense to you.
Yeah.
Did that make sense to you?
it did. And I think
Okay.
one thing that is like an example to me of the strength weakness thing is I don't mean this arrogantly, but I'm good at planning and thinking ahead, and sometimes I can
It's
be
not
like,
that I can't do it. You're just better
no,
at
right,
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
and you're better at in the moment.
Yes.
Like if we go on vacation, like we're
This is always a
packing.
subject.
I'm already got us dinner the next 4 days, and what time we're going to. And you're like, can you just like enjoy the moment?
Yes.
And so, you know, if all we ever lived in was your moment, we'd never get anywhere. But all we did was on my end, we'd get everywhere, but we wouldn't have any fun, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
I think we
it's
could
in proportion.
maybe
Okay,
adjust that comment. But yes, in
Right,
the
you know
overall,
what I mean. You know
yes,
what I
in
mean.
the overall picture of it all, yes.
So-
Because I do appreciate the fact that you like to keep things on track, and it does help keep things going. Because I like to accomplish things, but I know sometimes I can get off track. So it does make me feel accomplished when you help bring me along in that way, and I do appreciate it. Even though there are moments that it can annoy you, just like there are moments that I want to be in the moment and you're ready to go, it can annoy you. So, but when you start to keep bringing it back around, to value the difference, so that you realize this is just who we are, and when we value those differences, we see the wholeness that it actually brings to our relationship, as opposed to the irritation or the frustration. Then things work out so much
and really,
better.
if you think about it, I don't think we intended this, but it builds right off selflessness.
It really does. You're right.
Selfishness, you're focused on your
Yes, your
strengths, yeah. So
or the I instead of the
So-
we.
learning to be selfless, learning to value each other's differences, and what's the third one?
The third one is forgiveness.
I'm sorry. Yes, forgiveness. And
Yeah.
I think everybody knows that, but that's I think when you're younger and you get married, you don't think about forgiveness. 'Cause
No.
we're in love.
Yeah,
And
well,
then, you know,
yeah, we don't have
like,
anything to be sorry for. We don't have anything to
Right,
be
but
mad at
then-
each other for.
Then we do selfish things.
Yeah.
We neglect each other's, value.
This is
and
going to sound
we-
really
we-
strange.
we-
I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
No, we can say things and sometimes do things,
Yes.
and there's power in forgiveness.
Absolutely.
In marriage. you
In
know?
any relationship, but especially
In any
marriage.
relationship. Well, let me say this: in any close relationship, there's
Yeah.
power in forgiveness.
Yes.
Times you have
I
to
agree.
forgive me
I
about
agree.
stuff.
Yeah.
And really, you know what? I'm thinking about this.
Because I'm going to say
Especially-
something. so-
Especially in marriage, it really is a good picture of Christ's forgiveness to us.
Yes, it is.
'Cause,
Absolutely.
when you do something stupid yourself and it just affects you, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do something that offends or hurts or fails someone else, that is one thing. But when it's an intimate, close, like marriage,
When you love somebody.
yeah, in love
Yeah.
relationship, and you do it, because you really can't forgive yourself. People say that, but you either need Christ to forgive you. When someone else forgives you, it's really a powerful thing.
Yeah, it
and
is.
It's a good picture of like when you've forgiven me for things. It really is it's a powerful thing and affects you in a very humbling, grateful way.
Yeah, that's true.
Does that make any sense? 'Cause
Yeah,
that sounded really good.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And when I say this, I hope this makes sense. And I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong.
I value your
See, that's
difference.
part of our relationship. Is that I feel like with us, you're quicker to say, I'm sorry, but I'm quicker to be the one to forgive.
Is that what you were going to say a minute ago?
That's what I was going to say
yeah,
a minute
that is
ago.
true. I'm quicker to say
Like,
sorry,
I'm quicker to
forgive.
like
Yeah.
forgive it. You're quicker to say, I'm sorry. Not that we don't each do both.
I know what you mean, because I'm
That-
quicker to be like, you know what, I'm sorry, that's on me.
And I'm like, okay, it's done.
You're quicker to forgive, but it takes me a little longer to be like, tick me off. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you
I think
did that, you know.
like in any kind of instance, like, okay, all right, I forgive you. It's over. It's done. That kind of thing. Once,
Yeah.
But you're probably quicker to say, well, I'm sorry about that. Not that I don't say that I'm sorry, and not that you don't forgive. It's just I feel like that is an interesting
What do you
thing
think
that we
the
do.
key to forgiveness is?
The key?
Because it's not
Like
like
releasing?
I mean, sometimes our
Releasing
personality
someone,
affects
or-
it. Sometimes
The healing, forgiveness is for you.
Yeah, but what's the key? Yeah, individually it is. But when you're in a
Individually it
marriage
is.
relationship, it is
Yeah.
for you, but it's also
But
for
it's
the
for
other
us.
person.
For us.
Because if I don't forgive you, if I don't release, if I don't apologize, then I have a power over you I shouldn't have. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And vice versa. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, and just in
I
life.
can see what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but in
Yeah.
an intimate relationship, there's power in forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
There really is. I think a key to me, this is what I would say if you ask me that question, is with any forgiveness, it really comes down to this. The Bible's very clear on this, that if Christ forgave
Yeah.
me of anything,
Anything
and
and everything. That's right.
then
Who am I?
who am I
Right.
to hold, even if
Right.
you did stupid to me, even if it was hurtful,
Mm-hmm.
who am I? Because what it does, if we can't, it blocks forgiveness flowing in our life. The Bible says that.
Mm-hmm.
It clutters our prayers, our answers. And so I can hold my own life in captivity,
Right.
even though, and it's hard because someone does something to you and you won't release forgiveness. It really entraps you.
Well, and that's why I really think forgiveness is healing for yourself, like for you,
Yeah.
because of all the things that it would do to you by not allowing that to be expressed towards that other person. So it actually is healing for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then in that, I think it brings that operation of the love that Christ had for us. Then we can begin to even see and experience the love that we have for the other person, because we're all human. But some people are it's a little bit harder to get there. But when we truly love like Christ loved, we get there, even if it's through a process. We'll get there
with Christ.
if you're willing. You have to be willing to do
With
that. Not
Christ-
everybody's willing to forgive.
And with Christ, we're indebted in a good way for his forgiveness.
Absolutely.
And when you're-
Indebtedness that's going to bring life, not indebtedness that's going to bring us under more.
The Bible said, don't let any debt be out there except for love.
Love.
And that really is not about credit cards. even though people make
No.
it.
No, you're right.
And
It's not
so
about like
even
that kind of
to your
debt.
marriage spouse, I want this to be understood the right way. You can be indebted to them with forgiveness.
Yes, you can.
That's not a bad thing. In a
That's not a
positive
bad
way. I'm not talking about a controlling or manipulating way. But
No, because then you're crossing over to something totally different.
Yeah.
It doesn't even apply in
yes,
that area.
Yes, that's
So,
yeah. The worst power in marriage or relationship is manipulation, intimidation, and control.
that's right.
And
Absolutely.
we all practice. People can practice it in different ways. We got to be very aware of that.
Right. But no relationship will survive
Yep.
or thrive if that's in operation.
Because in a marriage, you have to be very honest. Because if we really thought about it, we would know how to manipulate each other.
Oh, absolutely. Because
We
we
can
know
do it
each other
with-
better than anybody else.
We can do it with
We know-
anger. We can do it with seduction. We can do it with
Just your emotions, even.
pity parties.
That's right.
We can do it with sadness. And there are people in their marriages, they struggle because
That's true.
anger,
You're right.
temper,
Yeah.
abuse, pity parties, seduction, those things, and that is.
But I honestly
that's the word
feel
of it. That's a spirit of
those,
witchcraft.
it is a
what that
spirit.
is.
You're right. But I also believe that it's not really somebody who truly understands the love.
Yeah.
The love of Christ
Yeah.
and the love of your spouse or the love of the people that you're in relationship with.
But a lot of
honestly.
people have just learned stuff through life and they practice that.
Well, yeah. I mean, because some of them don't know any different.
Yeah. I know we need to land this plane, but I thought you might have a thought to leave them with, but forgiveness is a faith choice.
Absolutely.
Scripture proves that. So,
It
like, well, I don't
absolutely
feel like
is.
you don't have to feel it.
Oh,
you have to
no.
obey.
No.
You know what I mean? You have to. You can't depend on the feelings. That's a faith thing.
That is a
to
faith thing.
forgive and let it go and release it. Doesn't mean you're a doormat and you get walked over. We don't mean that.
Yeah.
But it's a
It's definitely a faith thing.
yeah. It's a choice.
And I think you
it's
might
a
be-
choice to release grace into
Yeah.
someone's life and bring restoration. And to withhold that is devilish.
Yeah. And aren't we grateful that Jesus did it for us?
Absolutely. Well,
So true.
So 3 things we've learned. Number 1,
Be selfless,
number 2,
value to each other's differences,
3.
and be quick to forgive or express or do forgiveness.
Yes. Good stuff.
All right. I mean, these are things that obviously we've learned. We just hope that they'll be helpful to you in your relationships. We're not, like we said in the beginning, we're not perfect. You know, I like to say it this way, though. I'll leave this little thought.
Okay. you
We're
lead
not
with that.
perfect people, but we're perfect together because God brought us together, and His plans and His purposes are always perfect for each other's lives.
You know, you're right. God puts you together,
Yep.
and God keeps you together in spite of us.
It's always in spite of
Hey,
us.
good stuff today. Hopefully, you guys got
Yes.
something out of that.
Yes, hopefully we help somebody in their relationships, whether, like I said earlier, whether you're single, you're widowed, you're married. You know, every relationship deserves the opportunity to value each other, be selfless, and be quick to forgive.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, guys. Join us again next time. We love you all, and we'll see you.
Thank you for listening today. You can find out more information at justuswv.com. Don't forget to share this week's podcast so more people can hear the conversation. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time on Just Us.